Hello there, this is James and you're watching tixeeLive. In today's program, I'm going to cover a little bit what's gone on so far in the European session, what the American session we could see, what could happen during the US session, and basically give you an overview of how the market is currently feeling. There's a lot of sort of negative feelings at the moment. But before we get to that, don't forget, these little programs are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be treated as advice. I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence, and of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. With that out of the way, let's get started. So, what's going on? Well, currently, as we stand, the market is very much in fear of recession. What we have going on at the moment is due to inflation, being really, really high across the globe. There is opinions by many analysts that because of this, the cost of living has gone up dramatically, that we are seeing economic slowdown, which is talk of the town that we are potentially looking at going into recession maybe in the immediate or certainly in the near future. So there's a lot of concern about this. In fact, in an interview yesterday, the senior chairman of Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankfield, actually said there's a very, very high risk that the American economy will slump into recession. So that's with a number of banks have said that. Deutsche Bank mentioned last week, one of the analysts at Deutsche Bank last week, he mentioned that we will have a major global recession. So there is a lot of fear about that. And in fact, keeping with Goldman Sachs chief economist, Jan, I hope I say his name correctly. I'm terrible at names. Jan Hitzis, I think it is pronounced, downgraded US economic growth in 2022 to 2.4% versus his original forecast of 2.6%. Worse than that, he's actually forecasted economic growth for 2023 down to 1.6% versus his original forecast of 2.2%. So that is actually quite scary. So that is really what the market's feeling. There's a lot of fear of a potential recession. So what does that really generally mean to the market? Well, currently, as we stand, we are looking at a very dominant greenback. Why is that, James? Well, the reason for that is that when we have economic strife or concern, or the market is nervous, what they do is they move their money out of riskier assets, or what they consider to be risky assets, and put it into safe havens. And the US dollar is a safe haven. So what we're really seeing is that the dollar is performing very, very well against a number of major currencies. The cable, the British pound US dollar, is currently trading around a 2-year low, where the euro US dollar is trading around a 5-year low. So let's have a quick look at these pairs, see how we're looking at it. Let's have a quick look. I'll bring up my chart. First up here is the British pound. British pound US dollar. This is on a 1 hour chart. Now, as you can see, if you look at the 4 hour here, we have a look here, 4 hour. Around this time was what happened last week, is when the Bank of England reduced interest rates. And the reason they do that, again, is to fight inflation. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later, because I've got an exciting event coming up, which I want to talk to you about. So I'll talk to you about that in a bit. But as you can see, that's when the cable really started to come under pressure. If we look a little bit now, how it is at the moment, I put in 2 lines there, a potential support and potential resistance, which was trading and ranging through that. As you can see now, it's beginning to try and break that initial resistance, which I put in. Let's have a look. There we go. Yeah, the current resistance level I had put in was 1.2295. 1.22295. Now, what's interesting is, don't forget their theory of thumb of resistance and support. If the resistance is broken, then potentially it can become a potential support. So I'm now keeping my eye on a very, very close eye on this level here. As we can see, it's also trading above the 50-day simple moving average, which is indicating potentially that maybe we can see a bit of buyback, but it is still trading below the 100 moving average and the 200 moving average, which is sort of indicating we're potentially still on a downtrend. But with this particular pair, we've got huge news coming up on Wednesday, which I talked to you about. So yeah, this pair would be is something I'm keeping a close eye on. Now let's have a quick look at the euro, because as I mentioned, the euro is trading at a 5-year low against the dollar. As you can see, yeah, okay, it's trying to have a bit of a buyback. Let's put it on an hour chart here. It's trying to have a buyback after really coming under horrendous pressure because everybody's rushing into safe havens like the dollar. And yeah, it's trading just above the 50-day moving average, but it's still below the 100 and the 200-day moving average. So simply saying that, indicating there is still potential downtrend with this potential pair. Now, of course, there is talk. There's a lot of talk in the market that we could see the euro go to parity against the US dollar, which if that happens, that's going to be something else. It really is going to be something else. Parity means it goes to 1-to-1. So 1 euro would equal 1 US dollar. Currently, it's trading at 1.04311. So we've got a little bit of way to go before that happens, but there is talk that it could go to parity. But again, once again, we're seeing it under pressure purely because we are seeing an awful lot of dollar strength. What else is happening? This is something else I want to talk to you about. Gold. Okay, gold. I'm a big fan of gold. I've traded gold for many years. Just so you know, when I first started out in this industry, gold was trading around $636 an ounce. So as you can see, that was quite some time ago. But gold is doing something funny, okay? Because as I mentioned earlier on, we're seeing a rush into safe havens, okay? Like the dollar, Japanese yen. Gold is a safe haven. So with all this economic strife and obviously, conflict and things like that, gold should be doing something similar. But in fact, it's come under a lot of pressure. The US dollar has got so much strength against it that it's currently under a lot of pressure. And at the moment, it's testing or trading just above a key psychological level of $1,800. Okay, and that is a major psychological level. As you can see, that has acted as a bit of a support as well. So really interesting. I'm keeping a close eye on that. So gold, for some reason, is not doing its usual safe haven fundamentals, mainly down to the fact that the dollar is just so strong. So that's quite interesting there. What else? Oh, yes. Guess who's the talk of the town again? You got it. That's Elon Musk is talk of the town once again. Reason being is that on Friday, he sent a tweet saying that the deal, his $44 billion deal, okay, for Twitter has been put on hold. Now, the reason for this, okay, is that according to the audits of Twitter, 5% are fake accounts, only 5%. However, there's concern it could be more. So this is what Elon Musk is looking into. He wants to find out a little bit more about that, if indeed it is just 5% before he does the buy. Now, because of it, on Friday, Twitter's share price plunged by 10% on Friday, and Tesla, their share price rose by 5% on Friday. Now, there is talk whether or not, the deal is going to be over. He's going to pull out of the deal. But there is also talk that maybe he's using this to get a better price. Because remember, he's buying it for $44 billion, which is not, not some spare change. But yeah, so that's the thing. Let's have a quick look at Twitter. Let's bring it up on my chart again. Okay, give me a second. Okay, here's Twitter. Now, like I say, Twitter plunged 10% on Friday on the back of that tweet. And what is interesting is see how it opens today, because currently it's trading around $40.72. So when the US opens, when the share price starts going up, when the shares start being traded again, it'd be really interesting to see how it reacts. At the moment, 40.72. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this as well and see how that reacts today. Whether or not people will ignore that tweet, think it's just him trying to be a bit smart with the price he wants to pay for it, or indeed is he going to pull out of the deal? So that's going to be really, really interesting. Now, major events for this week. We have UK claimant count, okay, which is about how many people in the UK are signing on for unemployment benefit. We also have EU GDP, but the big one, or potentially big one, is the UK CPI, which is on Wednesday. Now, as I said, currently UK inflation is at 7%. Bank of England's inflation target is 2%. So it's way above their target. And their concern is inflation could come out on Wednesday, year on year, at 9.1%, which is really shocking, really frightening. So that's going to be a big event. I'm going to do a watch along. So please come along and watch it with me. I'll be watching the cable, British pound, US dollar, euro sterling. I'll be watching very closely, and the guppy, which is the British pound, Japanese yen. So those are the pairs I'm going to be watching live as this event comes out. It could be a potentially massive market event. So don't forget about that. Wednesday, join me, watch along. Okay, is there, don't always remember as well, because I'm live, you can ask me questions anytime you want. So feel free to do that. If there's no questions, I know it's a short one today, but we're going to have a lot of more activity this week, a lot more activity. Wednesday, like I say, is a watch along, and I will be doing a live broadcast again tomorrow. So don't forget to join me then. And we were talking about the European session and what's happened in an Asian session. So a lot to look forward to this week, a big week, especially Wednesday. If you're watching me on Facebook, and you like it, do us a follow. If you're watching me on YouTube, subscribe. Click the notification so you know next time I go live. If you liked it, give me one of those. It'll make me smile. And on that note, remember, these little programs are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should be taken as advice. I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence, and of course know the risks at hand before entering any trade. Till next time, every single one of you, trade safe.